Hey everybody, it's Jeff Antoniuk. Welcome to Digging Deeper Jazz Videos. I got the swing repair kit for you today. You're going to want to tune into this. Doesn't matter what instrument you play. As always, these videos are for all instruments, comping, soloing, bass lines, all that kind of stuff. So I want to talk about how we can get our feel a little better. I've had a number of subscribers send me emails and saying, it's like, my feel isn't everything it could be, and I know there's no way to teach it, but I'm just wondering. Well, yeah, there's a way to teach this stuff. I mean, there's that old school conventional wisdom. Oh yeah, you have to listen to thousands of hours of music. Well, sure, that's helpful. But I tell you what, I know a lot of people who have listened to thousands, tens of thousands of hours of jazz, and they can't swing. So just listening is not great advice. That's the advice you'll hear players and some teachers say. There's nothing wrong with listening to jazz. Of course, listen to jazz, but just listening to it doesn't do it. We need to dig in a little deeper. I've seen thousands of movies. I don't know how to act. I don't know how to do lighting or editing, right? So that's the same thing. So that advice is 8% good. So the other 92% is let's talk about some stuff, then go back and listen to your heroes, and guess what? You're gonna see what's going on, okay? Let me play a little bit for you. Little F blues. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So I just improvised a little bit. I hope it sounded like jazz. I hope I played some good notes in there and everything. How do we know it sounded like jazz? I'm playing saxophone. Okay, it's a jazz instrument, but not necessarily. There were some swing eighth notes. Maybe you could hear the feel, and perhaps there were harmonic devices that sounded jazzy. Well, I'm here to tell you one of the things that I think was really doing it was the syncopation. We've all heard about syncopation in jazz. Well, so today let's talk about it and get it into our playing, like really actively get it into our playing. So before I go any further, I want to remind you these videos, as always, sponsored by Gonzalez Reeds. They're fantastic, fantastic reeds. I've been playing them for a long time, and I really appreciate their sponsorship. So let me do this. I'm going to put something up on the screen for you in a second. Most or all of these videos have a PDF that accompanies them. So please send me an email, diggingdeeperjazz@gmail.com. I will put you on the list and send you these PDFs every week that go along with the video. So definitely send me an email. I'll send you this one out. So here it is up on the screen. And what I did is I wrote essentially a one chorus F blues, I've written out here G for me, etude. By the way, the PDF, the second page, has transposition for alto sax, bari sax, C instruments, bass, clef. So it's transposed for everybody. So send me the email, I'll send it out to you. So let me do this. I'm going to put on just a simple accompanying track, and I'm going to play this thing for you. And what I want to talk about today is the end of 4. That's specific. Listen to jazz. Great advice, but too broad. Okay, so now we're listening to jazz. Someone says syncopation. You got to syncopate if you want to do jazz. Great, very good. I suppose you need to enunciate well if you want to be a good actor. It's not helping me. I'm not a famous actor yet, right? Let's get more specific. The end of 4. So that is a great place that your heroes use when piano players, guitar players are comping. They'll jump in early on the end of 4. They'll play the next chord half a beat early on the end of 4. Soloists build this into their line. So let me play this etude for you. I'll put it back up on the screen here. And you can see all the ands of 4, all the syncopations built into it. Many, actually all of them, have a little sideways accent there. So let me play this for you. So that's something I would play in a first or second chorus of blues or something. So it's just something I wrote out, sort of composed a solo or something. But look at all those ands of 4 that you see going by on the screen. Or in the last 2 measures, you see the ands of 4 and then the ands of 2. So the syncopations, right? And yes, perhaps I overdid it. I think I fit 14 of them into these 12 measures, but it sounds like jazz. You'll also notice the 8th note in a measure, maybe it's not the 8th note, but it's always the and of 4. Very often that note belongs to the next chord. So look in the first 2 measures, and you'll see that the note on the and of 4 is an E. It's not a terrible note on a G7, but it's a fantastic note on the C7. When I played that E on the and of 4, I really was thinking ahead about a C7. I was being proactive. Here's a bigger example, 2nd measure to the 3rd measure. At the end of the C7 measure, you see that B natural. That's not a great note on a C7. Yet it's the note you want to play on that 3rd measure, G. So again, I'm playing those notes early. So I tell you what, let me play it. Let me play it again for you. And this would be a great thing for you to sort of play along with and sort of get this feel. So get the PDF from me and I'll send it off to you and do some playing. And here's what I'll do. I'll play it twice through for you, kind of quickly back to back, so that if you want to play along with this, and again, this is how you use listening, right? You'll be able to listen to me as you play along, get the accents right, get everything else right. This is a great active listening exercise. So I'll play it twice in a row. Here's the first time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so those syncopations, I think it sounds pretty natural, right? And this is reminding you of jazz. It sounds like jazz. So when I have students come to me or are playing for me in a master class or a workshop or something like that, this is one of the things that I notice that's missing. People who can actually play their instruments, people that are picking pretty decent notes, but things are often falling too much on the beat. And these are people who have listened to jazz for 30 years. Some of us are great mimics. Some of us can just hear something and now we know how to do it. For you folks, congratulations. You can probably leave this video now. For the rest of us mortals, like that ain't me, right? I'm not good at that. I have to practice this stuff and I have to work hard to know what it is I'm going for. Then I have to get the mechanics and the technique and everything else going, right? So for those of us that are in that boat, this is the way to do it. So being aware of the and of 4. So now here's where listening is going to work. Here's what I want you to do. For the next week, listen to a bunch of jazz or a bunch of Brazilian music or a bunch of funk. And you're going to hear the same thing. In funk, it's probably more 16th notes. It'll be the last 16th of the measure rather than the last 8th, but it's the same language. Listen to that and start getting used to how that's the sound of the music. First of all, syncopation, but that and of 4 is a big one. So I picked one to talk about. That's why these videos are called Digging Deeper. I picked one. I'm digging a deep hole on the and of 4, but I know that and of 4 is terribly important. I'm not going to argue it's more important than the and of 2 or anything. I think it might be though. So do that listening, get a hold of this PDF from me and practice along with it. And now start doing this in your practice. The main thing is that you start hearing it and that it's a thing. And it's going to start working its way into your practice. When you have that ear thing that you're hearing your heroes do it, now you have the intellectual understanding of, oh, this is something to pay attention to. And now that you've actually done it playing along with me, now is when it starts moving ahead. And you can actually start working on this and practicing this. Speaking of which, jazzwire.net. I've been hinting at this for months now to you folks watching the Digging Deeper videos. It's taking shape in early 2018. We are going to be launching jazzwire.net. And it's going to be this kind of work for subscribers to the website. So check it out. There's a simple info page right now. If you're watching this a couple months from now, Jazzwire might be launched and doing its thing. So anyway, check that out. And it's built for you folks out there who are watching these videos. You're eager for good information. You're tired of getting too much information at once. That's what people are saying they like about this. And that's how I learned how to play this stuff, is by thinking about one super small thing, but then really growing it into something. Growing it into a big tree, that little seed, right? As opposed to being overwhelmed, freaking out, and quitting. That's not what this is about. So Jazzwire is going to be a fantastic experience, not only for good content, but also for getting people vibing with each other. It's going to be a fantastic community too. So I think you see what we're talking about. As always, the concepts are ridiculously simple, but it turns out ridiculously simple never gets talked about, and it's the most important stuff. So I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much for sharing these videos. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for passing them along to other musician friends of yours. And especially thank you to the people who are now regularly writing me with great questions like this one. Man, I don't swing enough. I know there's nothing you can do from afar, but man, if only, no. There's ways we can do this stuff. So thank you so much for being here today, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.